welcome to Cricbuzz Live on this lovely Sunday afternoon. It's a holiday today, relaxed day, chill day, easy day. So thank you for being with us because we're pretty easy, we're pretty chill, we're pretty relaxed. We're almost always in holiday mode because, come on, hanging out with you, this ain't work. Yeah? If it is, then sign me up for this 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Especially if I got my brothers in the house with me. Yo, put your hands up in the air. I'm doing millennial references because they are millennials at heart. I'm Gaurav Kapur. Joining me, Joy Bhattacharjya and Harsha Bhogle. Mr. Bhattacharjya, how are you, sir? How are things in the Gurgaon?
Just trying to get through the fog of still the residue of the fireworks. Now, once it settles down, you'll see me properly. Now I'm a bit hazy still.
You're living in sepia filter, right? You're living in sepia filter. Yeah, yes. Yeah, I can sort of see. Do you remember that song? Acha chalta hu, dhuaon mein yaad rakhna?
Maybe too recent for me.
And now, of course, Mr. Bhogle will give us a chart buster from the 90s. The 1890s. Sir, actually today, no, instead of a joy factor question comes in the end. I want to start with a Harsha ki Varsha question because it is the rainfall of knowledge. The question is that you have to give us the lyrics of a song which are absolutely obscure and see if people can answer us on Twitter and tell us where that song is from. Something. Just give us something.
ये मुरादों की हंसी रात किसे पेश करूं
ये मुरादों की हंसी रात किसे पेश करूं नोट किया जाए
चलिए if you guys know the answer hashtag
clue is Suninder. Okay,
I don't think you are. There's enough people sir here who will without the clue only get it. But I'll give you a little clue on how important this first game is today. It's New Zealand playing Afghanistan. If you're an Indian cricket fan, I know New Zealand has been your second favorite team for a long time, but today it's not at all. Because today you're cheering purely, wholly and solely for Afghanistan. So basically, Harsha, India is effectively, what is it? We're 100xing, 10, 40xing, 50xing the cheering squad for Afghanistan because they want to win, obviously, but all of India wants them to win as well.
And the peculiar thing is, should Afghanistan win today, all of Afghanistan will cheer Namibia tomorrow.
That is true.
Those are the peculiar situations you get in these closing situations. Because for New Zealand, it's very clear. New Zealand win today, they're through. New Zealand lose today, they're out. And net run rate is not a factor for New Zealand because they're so far behind that if they win on points. If they lose, they go out on net run rate. They're that far behind. If New Zealand lose, which I think is a remote possibility, but if New Zealand lose, then Afghanistan and India play that net run rate game, and Afghanistan will be cheering Namibia along, assuming that so that if India beat Namibia, they don't cross Afghanistan's or they drop below Afghanistan's net run rate.
Yeah, that they run them close. That Namibia, even if Namibia loses,
yeah, that's unlikely to.
So here's the thing, Joy, that everybody, of course, is obsessing over New Zealand losing and India has to get to the semi-finals. But in all of this, people have forgotten that Afghanistan can actually qualify as well in place of India.
Yeah, they can still qualify, but it requires some very, very unlikely results. I mean, I can only tell you that 31.4 million is the population of Afghanistan. 1.3 billion Indians are this thing. I have to find out Namibia's population because all of it, I mean, Afghans will just adopt Namibia as their new country if they beat this thing tomorrow.
Joy, I thought you also knew the religion and caste and language and geographical breakdown of Namibia.
No, he knows the names of the entire population also. All of them. Yes.
I wish.
Anyway. Does he have a register? Oops. Tricky turf. Let's move to the turf in Abu Dhabi where this match is happening. The first match, which is New Zealand playing Afghanistan. And we'll have a look at the 11s. We'll also tell you what has happened with the toss. Has the toss happened? What has happened with the toss? Who won? Afghanistan has won the toss and are batting first. All right. Afghanistan won the toss and batting first, Harsha, which is actually no surprise from them.
No surprise, but there's going to be a lot of people who view the game not through a cricketing lens who are going to ask questions about this. And I feel very sorry for them because in their conspiracy theory, this will fit in very well. But there are very strong cricketing reasons for Afghanistan to win the toss and bat first, even though 6 out of 7 afternoon games here have been won by the side that has chased. The reason Afghanistan are batting first here is there is no dew. The reason Afghanistan fielded against India and batted second was the previous evening the ground had been soaked with dew. So what is Afghanistan's best chance? They bat fearlessly and get 140, 150. It will then be already 60 overs on the same surface. It's already a slightly slowish surface, though Australia batted beautifully on it yesterday and didn't give that impression. But after 60 overs, they'll start hoping it becomes slower and slower. And then they will get Mujib and Rashid and all and try and strangle New Zealand. So that is Afghanistan's best chance of winning. So I think they've taken the right decision. If there's any little thing going Afghanistan's way, I think this was their best chance.
Yeah, again, solid cricketing reasons. They love batting first because their strong suit is their bowling. And if there's no dew, their bowlers just get a little more.
And the numbers too,
Gaurav.
The numbers too. I think they've won 90% of their matches, something like that, in the UAE batting first.
Yeah, they almost always win when they're batting first. So that's why the solid cricketing reasons. So conspiracy theorists, put your Twitters down. Put them down. Walk away. Walk away, step back. It's okay. It's going to be just fine. And Afghanistan, well, they have another thing going for them, Joy, is that Mujib is back in. I think Ashwin personally worked on him with physiotherapy. and he's back. So that's great news for Afghanistan.
That's fantastic news for Afghanistan because now you have 8 overs to be scared of. And then what happens is because Mujib will bowl so many of his overs in the first 10, that they can hold Rashid back till 8, 10. So then you have 2 kicks at it. You have 2 goes at it. Either Mujib will give you something up front. If he doesn't, Rashid is always there. Another 4 overs of Rashid. So I think this, exactly as Harsha said, if anything has to happen, and for all viewers, the odds are still hugely stacked in New Zealand's favor. But if, the best chance of any kind of an upset is Afghanistan batting first.
What Mujib also does is he allows Nabi to bowl when the left-handers come a little later down. When Conway, Neesham and the other Santner, the left-handers come later, you don't have to bowl Nabi at the top. Mujib can bowl at the top. There's one other factor going for them, which is Hamid Hassan. I thought Hamid Hassan was in mothballs and was studying geography by now, or maybe going. But he's come back and he's bowling really well. He's nailing those Yorkers. So they've now got 4 overs from there as well. So Gulbadin, Nabi, Karim, Jannat, they can slip in with one over here and there if required, because they've got this bowling. Yeah. So
gives them options, options, good options, inform options, pressure options, and especially when you're bowling second, this could really work to Afghanistan's favor. Let's have a look at the New Zealand team as well. They have unsurprisingly gone in unchanged. This is, Harsha, when you look at this team, it really does tick all the boxes. And I think in the previous match with Neesham and Phillips playing the kind of innings that they played, it also kind of checked that little concern that they had of middle order not getting enough game time, not getting enough runs. So they'd be confident going into this game and subsequently kind of winning it and going into the semi-finals. They'd be confident now. They've checked a lot of boxes.
And what they've done here is they've done in the last 3 games, they've said we are going to pick 5 bowlers. We are going to pick all our seamers. We are not going to go in with bits and pieces. We are going to go in with all our 5 bowlers intact. If that means that Santner bats 7, Southee bats 8, that's okay. Sodhi can come and swing his bat. Southee can swing his bat. We will tell our batsmen this is how you're going to do it. They batted Daryl Mitchell out of position. One of the great things about New Zealand is they just seem to put people in roles that they don't mind. I thought Conway is going to open the batting, but they send Mitchell out with a purpose. Then Conway comes in at 4. Neesham will come in at 6 with a very clear role. If they get a good start, Phillips and Neesham can go and finish. But they've told the batsmen, listen, you are the 6. These are not the 6 scariest batsmen going around in world cricket. Yeah. And yet they have backed them, given them confidence. That is why New Zealand as a whole will always be greater than the sum of the parts.
Yeah, and Neesham, it's interesting that you say about, the roles that they're given and they just seem to, everybody just is put into a role and just ends up, picking up that really well. This is what Neesham had to say about, I think we've got a quote of what Neesham says. He says, I can't imagine I would have faced more than 20 balls very often for New Zealand. It's all about trying to load up the back end with wickets in hand and come out and be explosive. The nature of being the number 6 all-rounder is that you'll be tasked to get the game in hand. He knows what he has to do, right, Joy? He knows what he has to do. It's not rocket science, and he's like, well, I'm up for it.
Yeah, my only thing, and I completely agree that they're doing this team, and it's a strategy, but it is a risky strategy. Santner at 7, you look at that batting order and you say perhaps they're one position out of order. And the temptation for most captains would have been, I have Daryl Mitchell who bowls, I have Jimmy Neesham who bowls, I can get 2 overs out of each of them. Hell, Kane Williamson can spin his arm and maybe turn around 1 over. Should I play that extra batsman and then go up to at least 7? And that would be the temptation every time of the year. And they're saying, no, we're going to bowl with. So you've got 5 genuine bowlers, then you've got Neesham, then you've got Mitchell, and then you're saying that, okay, 6 batsmen do it. My thing is that this is a great strategy, but it also actually works for Afghanistan as well. It works for Afghanistan as well, saying, okay, because Afghanistan's strongest suit is there, if I can somehow get 2 or 3 wickets early against this attack, okay, you're batting till 7, really. I mean, you're batting till 6. Even Santner is not going to scare anyone that you're going to turn and say that Santner is going to blast me out of the split. So it works for both. It's a risky strategy for New Zealand, but they followed it. They've stuck to their guns. But it opens a little door for Afghanistan as well.
No, but it's been successful. See, because Harsha, you remember they started with Tim Seifert, and then instead of Tim Seifert, they got in Adam Milne. So obviously changing the batter for a bowler. So very clearly saying this is our strategy. We want 5 full bowlers, and it's worked.
Yeah, and it's worked. And as a result, because Glenn Phillips is, I don't think is 100% fit to keep wickets. So Devon Conway is keeping wickets. That's another player who can keep. It's not that he can't keep, but he's not a keeper as such. So now Conway is keeping wickets and batting at 4. Phillips is batting as a pure batsman at 5, and then he might give you an over or 2 if there's an emergency. Phillips is a wicket keeper who bowls off breaks.
Phillips can bowl, absolutely.
Yeah, because he says I get bored during practice. What does a keeper do during practice? So I just want to be involved. So I just keep bowling. But the Neesham quote is interesting as well, because number 6 is a very peculiar batting position. You worked a lot with Ajay Jadeja, who, if he ever does a PhD, his doctoral thesis will be batting at number 6.
True.
Okay? Yeah. But batting at 6, you could one day you could be in at 70 for 4 in 12 overs. And you've got to say, no, I can't go till the 16th, 17th over. But most days, you're a 15-ball batsman. Most days, if your side is batted well.
I think the last game, that's when Neesham and Phillips were there. I think they were. Yes. They came in. What was it? The 4th wicket fell in the 13th.
They got 67 or 4 overs. Yeah. And they got 67 or 4 overs. They batted, and finished big. But Joy's point about New Zealand's slight fragility, you saw that in the game against Pakistan. You see, against a really good bowling attack, they lost a couple of wickets early, and Pakistan had been the number 1 bowling attack of this tournament. Afghanistan, if they can get those 1 or 2 wickets early, so my feeling is there's 2 contests to watch out for. The first is there'll be a swing for 2 or 3 overs at most. Bolt and Southee against 2 sloggers. Zazai is a left-handed slogger, and Shehzad has only slogged all his life. So if they can get those 2 early, then straight away Afghanistan are on the back foot, because they like to keep going. The batsman to follow, very impressed with Rahmanullah Gurbaz. He's a really good player. Najib Zadran is a really good batsman. If they get that start, then each of these guys will continue to go boom, boom, boom. And there's some left-handers in there with a leggy and a left-arm spinner, so the left-handers will come in handy as well. So all depends on Bolt and Southee versus Zazai and Shehzad.
Well, it's their best chance today to kind of improve their power play performance, because for New Zealand, through this tournament, they've only taken 4 wickets in the power play. So Southee and Bolt will say, all right, if you can give us a little bit, if you can give us maybe a little movement, they're great exponents of swing. They can really exploit that. But their 4 wickets in the power play, Joy, are in the Super 12, 12th best. So they're better than that. The New Zealand bowling attack is better than that.
Absolutely. I think, you see what they do for Bombay. Bolt used to be thrown the ball and said, take wickets early. And when the conditions, it just needs to suit him that little bit. And it has normally suited bowlers. In Abu Dhabi, we've seen swing for a couple of overs once in a while. We haven't seen that not too much on the other surfaces. But Abu Dhabi, you've seen a little bit of shape. He gets a little bit of shape. Shehzad is always going to give you chances. The way he bats, he's always going to give you chances. And Zazai is exactly built in the same mold. Basically, it's a slightly taller, slightly left-handed Shehzad, who's slightly fitter than Shehzad, which is, but not as much as them. Shehzad levels are different levels, absolutely. He's his Rakim Conwell level, which is a different level altogether.
But
It's
Zazai
got a
tending
level
to
of this.
Shahzad.
Yeah.
Zazai
Tending to
Shahzad.
Shahzad. He's just
what you
two
could
biryanis
see-
away. He's 2 biryanis away.
What you could see here, Gaurav, is after 2 overs, they could be 20 for no loss, or they could be 4 for 2. You don't know.
That's true, and that also makes watching Afghanistan cricket really exciting, right? You were talking about Ajay Jadeja and his doctoral thesis. There's another doctoral thesis, and he's always saying it on the show. He's like 5 full bowlers. He's like, if 6 batters can't do it, 7 can't as well. He says your 6 have to do the job.
Yeah.
You need 5 full bowlers. So I think New Zealand have done that.
But
It's
7 and
been
8 can bat.
successful for them. Yeah, there's
For New
Mitchell
Zealand, 7 and 8 can
Santner.
bat, so they're-
Mitchell Santner is a proper bat, I feel, right? I mean, we've seen him do it for New Zealand. You've seen him do it for Chennai as well. He can hit a ball pretty. Doesn't get that much opportunity, but otherwise, I think he's pretty solid. So, if we just talk about the spin of New Zealand, because we also talk. I mean, they're bowling first, and we always talk about Saudi and Bolt, of course, them being absolute legends of the game. But Harsha, you have to Ish Sodhi and Mitchell Santner both with the ball. And Ish Sodhi with his just habit of taking wickets in the first over that he bowls. He comes on and gets a wicket for his captain.
He is one of the most underrated bowlers in the world. I have no idea why. Because his record is so good. I know he went through a dip a couple of years ago, but since he's come back, he's done really well. Inderbir, apna Ludhiane ka Inderbir jo hai na? Inderbir.
Inderbir.
And Inderbir and Joy will become good friends because Inderbir, while passing, always gives you a quiz question and goes.
He does.
He's big into cricket trivia. So when he sees me, he'll pass by and says, "Okay, you think you know it all? Here's one for you," and he'll go run across to bowl in the nets. But I mean that's why the post game the other day.
Yeah, that's what
at the post game I said, "I've got a quiz question for you," and he said, "Okay." And he said, afterwards, you asked me 2 simple questions. I said, I can't ask in the post-game presentation, ask you a question you don't know the answer to, right?
Did you ask him who's the liaison officer for Rajasthan Royals?
No. I said last time India played New Zealand in the T20 World Cup, how did the spinners go? So obviously it was him and Santner won that game. But there's something about Sodhi. He comes from a high arm action. He turns the ball a fair bit, but he bowls a really good slider. See how many LBWs he gets. Because he bowls a really good slider, and sometimes you can look at Sodhi and say, "Nahi, yahan pe run hai mere," and he'll lure you into giving you wickets. I think he's a seriously good bowler.
Well, you're talking about the last time India played New Zealand. Let me tell you, the last time New Zealand played Afghanistan in a T20I.
Pakad liya.
Yes, Joy?
Pakad liya.
What happened last time when New Zealand and Afghanistan played in a T20I?
I have absolutely no idea.
Can I tell you? Nothing.
Why? They've never played. Wow, you got me. I should have guessed that googly. Why was everyone so confident? There could be only one result if everyone was so confident.
That's right. You should gone with the consensus on our faces.
I should not have slept 20 minutes before the telecast. That is my problem. I'm still not fully awake.
That's what happens when did you have aloo posto for lunch? Launch. Even I said launch. Do you have aloo posto for lunch?
I am only this is today. We need to buy it's biryani day today. If you're supporting Afghanistan, you need to have a biryani, or at least some northwest dish, some tandoor dish. You can't have.
So then, let me ask you the most important question, which actually will be the most important question on the show. Forget everything else. Is biryani supposed to have potato in it or not?
It is not supposed to. It didn't start that way. So the story is Sirajud-Dowla. Okay. I won't go on. Nawab goes to Calcutta. He goes to Calcutta and his cooks, he keeps spending money extravagantly. His cooks find out he's running out of money. So they just can't keep mutton in the biryani. So it gives it some body. They start putting potatoes in it as well. And that's why only Kolkata has the potato in the biryani, which is why it's sacred. But it's also such a socialist thought that, there is a mutton, but the potato is also important. There is a Tendulkar, but the Dravid is also important. And that's what the potato is all about. It's a Rahul Dravid of the biryani.
Gives it
But
body and
Suppose someone says, "I'm Bhindi. Why should I be discriminated against? Socialist approach to life. I'm Bhindi."
Yeah, we can
but in a veg biryani, which is fantastic, you have caramelized onions, you have gajar, you have aloo. The one thing that I cannot stand is paneer.
Okay, 1 second.
Chodo. Ye match hai.
Before we even get to paneer, how do the words veg and biryani they're not, it's illegal to put them together. Joy, please tell him how this is not right. What is this?
Yeah,
what is this?
I mean,
It doesn't make any sense.
अच्छा अगर रोज मैं 2 मिनट के बाद आऊं.
This is like saying Afghanistan and New Zealand in T20I. It's not happened. It's not. It shouldn't have happened. It's not. There's nothing. Zero.
I mean, last time I met a friend from Pakistan and we were discussing biryani and I said aloo biryani and he said ab wahan na jaye, ab na bole.
Polite man he is.
There is that famous line, right? Tumse na ho paega. Yeah, so we can just leave it be. Kane Williamson and Rashid Khan, 2 stars of each side. How do they fare against each other? Because this is going to be quite an important battle as well. Because remember, the thing with Kane Williamson is that he's like the totem, Harsha, isn't he? He's like the totem of that New Zealand side. And the thing with Kane Williamson is the gears that he's shown. And, I've gone crying hoarse about how Kane Williamson is one of the most complete cricket players and also one of the really better T20 batsmen, which people get kind of shocked about, but his strike rates will show you that he really can adapt to a situation and play accordingly. But Kane Williamson is really key, is that understated key, that spine, that L4 of that team, isn't he?
He's got the good boy aura. He's got the good boy aura around him. But look at who's around him. I think for Kane Williamson to make a strong contribution, Kane Williamson is the spine. The spine is not flamboyant. The spine is just solid. It holds the body together. So if Guptill is going for it, Mitchell is going for it, under him, Conway, Phillips and Neesham are going for it, Williamson is in there. The moment you lose wickets and you tell Williamson, it's 9 and over, go for it now, then you're in trouble because he's playing, he's out of, क्या बोलते हैं आपके theatre में, out of costume, out of क्या बोलते हैं?
Out of character.
Out of character. He's out of character. He's out of character.
Yeah, but I mean, these two, the interesting thing, of course,
year.
is the interesting thing is that they know each other so well, right? Because talking about biryani, they've shared a few Hyderabadi biryanis, the two of them, in the years that they've spent together. It's interesting, right? It's going to be really interesting, Harsha, because the thing is that you don't play against each other, but having played together, you seem to know the chinks in each other's armors better than if you've competed against each other.
So well, because Rashid Khan is Kane Williamson's match winner. So Williamson's bowling strategy when he plays 14 games for Sunrisers, as opposed to the 6 or 7 games that he's captaining New Zealand, 14 games he's captaining the Sunrisers, and he's thinking, where can I get Rashid to bowl? What are Rashid's strengths? What can Rashid do well? So as a captain, he knows Rashid inside out, even though he's not played against him. He's not played against him very much. Yeah,
well, there you go. This is where Rashid bowls, right? I mean, he bowls very differently. I mean, Nabi uses him very differently than Kane Williamson uses him for his franchise. So you can tell. But I mean, that's the joy, right? When you have a Mujib in your team, Joy, you have the luxury of then using Rashid, whereas Kane doesn't have that. Especially in the last couple of seasons, he's only had one weapon, and he has to use him whenever he needs to use it.
Yeah, and as Harsha was saying, that the moment you have that many left-handers in the side, and he's not called upon, he doesn't have to bowl at a particular time. Nabi's a better bowler. Nabi's a much better bowler when he has the option. I can slip it in over here, I can slip it in over there, because I don't necessarily have to bowl against right-handers in the side where I can get targeted. So Nabi can also use himself much better just if Mujib is there. And I think that's the thing. But if you see Kane Williamson's role today, either he or Devon Conway, I mean, they'll have to change roles. The interesting thing about it, though, is that they have one advantage. They will know what they're chasing. And the moment they know what they're chasing, Kane Williamson has a very crystal clear idea of what he needs to do out there.
Yeah, because it's plays completely into his wheelhouse, because they don't have to chase for net run rate. They are only chasing to win. Today, New Zealand has to win to qualify. Net run rate, and if they lose, they don't. Either Afghanistan or India can qualify depending on what their net run rate calculations will be. So it's quite interesting for them. Let me give the good news to the India fans, right? I've got the numbers right here. Unlike the start of the tournament, where teams chasing first were pretty much winning everything, 4 out of the last 6 games have been won by the side batting first. Afghanistan, of course, has won the toss and is batting first today. And Afghanistan themselves have won 8 out of 9 matches in the UAE when they have batted first. This is since the 2016 T20 World Cup. Afternoon games have also panned out differently than the night, with the chasing team coming out victorious 6 out of 7 games so far. That's the afternoon game. So it's going, I don't know, man.
Like, who you know what, Gaurav? I'll tell you honestly what you look like. Huh?
Yeah.
Exam जाने से पहले जल्दी से पढ़ने.
And now I'm ready. No. Sorry, you're absolutely right. But with one variation. Not before the exam, during the exam.
Yeah, it's a different swag.
During the exam. Rolling the sleeve open, checking what's written on the arm.
पलीते लेके गए आप एग्जाम में?
क्या लेके गए?
पलीते नहीं मालूम?
पलीते?
चिट्ठियों में लिखे हल्ले
You mean फर्रे?
चिट्ठियों में लिखे हल्लू से छुप के लेके जाते सो पलीते.
सर हम लोग छुप के नहीं ले, हम खोलने में लेके जाते हैं. पंजाबी है सर. फर्रे लेके जाते थे हम. फर्रे नाम भी देखो क्या है, फर्रे. Actually, I've never taken a far. I was a real puski. I would never take them. So I would just give my paper and just come out and say, "Chalo, theek hai, it's anyway." पढ़ाई करके सर्विस थोड़ी ना करनी है हमने. But that's what I would do. But right now, sorry, you were saying?
No, I was saying about the game. If the pitch does play to what the pitch report is saying it could, then Afghanistan will probably have the pitch while it's better. And if it does start to slow down, then it might be a good toss to win. But as you said, from New Zealand's point of view, I don't think New Zealand would mind this too much, because New Zealand would have been happy to chase, knowing what their target is and how they can set it up. Because New Zealand bat first, and they don't know what kind of target to set, and suddenly these sloggers start to get going, and you don't know what's happening, right? So I think New Zealand won't mind this too much.
Okay, so Afghanistan, of course, batting first, New Zealand batting second. India has to also play. India has to play tomorrow. That has to happen. We're just taking it as a given that India will be picking those 2 points. We'll show you the points table again to explain to you the relevance of this game, right? You have India and Afghanistan, both at 4 points. Now, if Afghanistan wins today, they go to 6. Their net run rate is better than New Zealand's, which means New Zealand is out. New Zealand is out. It doesn't matter who the second team would be to qualify. New Zealand would not be that team, right? Because Afghanistan would be sitting above them. And India winning tomorrow could then catapult itself over Afghanistan and then become the second team to qualify. So for New Zealand, it's very clear going into the game today. There is no issue. We want to win. We get through to the semi-final. They would then play the semi-final against England. And that would be a great revenge game for them. I know, I don't know. I'm not jumping too many steps here, Joy. I'm not jumping too many steps when I say that New Zealand will be looking at the revenge game, because they just have to win one to get there. It's like they have to win this quarterfinal to play the semi.
That's it. Yeah. And I mean, look, for all that's going Afghanistan's way, the odds are still heavily in the favor of New Zealand. So yeah, it's one match. It's a big thing. And if they have to play England, given all the injuries that are going through the English side, this is as good a situation to catch England as any.
They have played each other in 2 50-over World Cups before, and New Zealand has won both times. But hey, this T20 format, it's a tricky one. You think both these teams are solid teams. Afghanistan's a solid team. So I wouldn't really go into this game, Harsha. I wouldn't go into this game thinking it's going to be a one-way street.
It's not a one-way street, but remember, there's a reason New Zealand have the record that they do, and Afghanistan haven't yet got anywhere near that kind of record. And the reason is, in tournament play, New Zealand just seemed to be such a good side. And in ICC tournaments, they just seem to find another khazana hidden somewhere, another treasure somewhere. They're World Test Championship winners. They're finalists of the 50-over World Cup. And
2 times.
They just make semi-finals. Yeah, they just make. Last time also they made the semi-final out of India's. They qualified, I think, or India's group. Yeah, last time as well. So they just seem to qualify every time. I think they bring a sense of calm about them, which is very good in knockout situations. So my feeling at the moment is that if Afghanistan can win, it will be a colossal upset. So I don't want to pour water over hopes, but I think if you're going to be realistic, if we are here to tell it as we see it, then you've got to accept that New Zealand start overwhelming favorites. Something dramatic will have to happen for that to change. You showed the net run rate. It doesn't matter that much. Afghanistan win today, India are through, because Afghanistan will have to win big to go above India's net run rate.
Correct.
India 1.6, Afghanistan 1.4. So if they've got to win by a reasonable margin to go above India, but
India still has the game.
Can adjust that, sir. So I think this is the resultant, not tomorrow.
Yeah, you said India, New Zealand in semi-final. I didn't hear anything after that because my tears were in my ears also. We have a question which will bring tears to your eyes because that's what the Joy Factor question does. Today, thankfully, he's here to read it out. So I'm guessing it's not it is a 500-word question. Sir, please, I will just get a coffee and come in.
Yeah, this international cricketer made his test debut in an Indian city, which he later represented in a professional league, and gets his nickname from his fluency in a particular language. Name the cricketer. Easy one. Easy one. Full toss. Outside, slow full toss outside the off stop.
Yeah, I think even I know this. And if I know it, then I'm guessing about 150 answers have come in already. I'm guessing. I just want to tell you, Joy, I don't know if you know this, but the other day, the question that you had set about Shakib bowling the fourth ball of the 44th over, right? And Suresh Raina playing it, and what momentous thing happened at that time. Dinesh Karthik was on the show with me. He got it right.
No, he's got quite a few right now. Not only that,
right. Yeah.
I said, by mistake, I was talking on a show and said, Jack Hobbs 199 first class hundreds, and Karthik is so sweet, didn't interrupt me in the show. When he finished, so he said, Joyda, I think that was 197. I said, I said 199. He said, yeah. I said, no, I'm so sorry. He knew it. Bang on 197.
No, I think there is a dispute about the status of two of those hundreds, whether or not they should be counted as first class. I suspect. I think that is the reason, but I'm not sure. Yeah, I think that is.
But 197.
But the more interesting is.
Welcome to the Nerd Symposium, guys.
100 of those came after his 40th birthday, I think. Something like that. Just take the last number came after his 40th birthday. But this New Zealand versus Afghanistan, and I'm not going to go away from that.
That's amazing. Everybody, on hashtag Cricbuzz Live, you can sign up for this Nerd Symposium. We have snacks as well. So please sign up for it. In the meanwhile, we want to tell you, I hope you've signed up for Cricbuzz Plus because there's some amazing exclusive ad-free content over there. So please sign up for that. That is a real thing that you can sign up for. This Nerd Symposium is a fake thing, but it'll be the smallest of the scams that I have run in my life. Meanwhile, there's another scam that I've been running.
By no means a last.
Yeah, correct. There's been a scam I've been running on Cricbuzz Live, which I call the prediction game. We've been running this for a few years. And we're going to carry on with that today. We used to promise red tables that were given away to the person who got it correct. Nobody ever saw one because they were all locked in a room in my house. But that scam carries on without the promise of the red table. That's how good that scam has got. Afghanistan batting first in Abu Dhabi. Gentlemen, get your guesses in.
This is hope. The thing with feathers. 151. Very hopeful.
138.
138, 151. I'm going to give you guys this button. You see this button? I'm going to give you this button if you get it right. 138, 151. It's a really nice. It's a very nice button, sir. You can wear it. A crest like that, you can wear it. It's a place of pride. You can put it like that. Everybody will say, "Oh wow, it's like a Captain America shield." I'm going to say 145. 145. 138, 145, 151. Write them down. There's no need to just write mine down because I'm going to get this right. I know I will. This button stays right here. All right, we'll be back after the 10th over with a show which is as cute as a button. It's tiny, Cricbuzz Combox, so a little update halfway into the Afghanistan batting effort. And of course, then we'll be back after the innings is over on Cricbuzz Live. I'd like to thank Harsha Bhogle and Joy Bhattacharya. Thank you, gentlemen. The conversation, especially about potatoes and biryani, was enriching. And of course, we spoke about some cricket as well. I'm Gaurav Kapur. We'll see you in a bit.